You ever notice how some of the most powerful beings in a story just don't sound all that powerful? In fact, they sound kinda broken. Well, today we're gonna dive into that because their fragmented, weird way of talking isn't just a quirk, it's actually a terrifying window straight into a monster's soul.
I mean, it's a really interesting puzzle, right? You've got these beings who can literally reanimate the dead or twist the fabric of reality, but when they open their mouths, they hesitate, they trail off, they talk in circles. So why is that? It's definitely not just a random stylistic choice. Nope, it's a huge signpost pointing to something much deeper and much more fractured going on inside them.
I mean, just listen to this for a second. This is a necromancer we're talking about, a being with actual power over life and death itself. But their speech, it's just riddled with pauses, with self-interruption, and all these rhetorical questions. They sound less like some master of the dark arts and more like someone having a full-blown existential crisis right in front of you.
And that right there is the heart of it all. Their broken language is basically a direct broadcast of what's going on in their heads. It shows us, instead of just telling us, the true source of their horror. And it's not their power, it's the massive instability bubbling right underneath it.
All right, so first up, let's talk about our necromancers. They are the perfect first example of a very specific kind of mental gridlock. Yeah, their power is immense, but their speech, oh man, it reveals a mind that is just completely and utterly paralyzed.
What we're seeing here is a textbook case of something you could call existential paralysis. Just try to imagine it. You have the power to bend time or raise the dead, but you're so crushed by the pointlessness of it all that you can't even figure out what to do next. Their incredible power gets completely short-circuited by their own bleak philosophy.
And you can see that paradox so clearly right here. This being can literally traverse time and reanimate the dead. But in the very next breath, they're asking, why do you waste so much time? They've got all the power in the universe, but they're trapped by this equally infinite sense of, what's the point?
And this quote, wow, it just perfectly sums up their entire worldview. To them, the past, the present, the future, it's all just different flavors of nothing, an oblivion of immemoriality. And when you truly believe that, what's the point of doing anything at all? Why bother raising the dead if you're just bringing them back to a totally meaningless existence?
So their speech becomes the actual sound of that doubt. Those constant rhetorical questions, what is the point? They're not asking us, they're asking themselves. The ellipses, the dots, that's their thoughts, literally falling off a cliff into a void of uncertainty. It's a mind so tangled up in the why that it can't even finish a sentence about the how.
Okay, so that's one kind of instability. Now let's shift gears and look at our next group of characters. Because here, the fragmented speech points to something, well, something different, maybe even more sinister. This isn't about existential doubt, it's about a complete and total breakdown of any moral or psychological structure.
First up, we've got the mini-monster. Its instability isn't philosophical, it's just a complete lack of a moral spine. It operates on what you could call moral malleability. Basically, its principles are like water. They just take the shape of whatever is most convenient or rewarding at any given moment.
And what's so wild is how it justifies this. There's no shame here, none at all. In fact, it's proud. It actually sees its ability to reverse course entirely based on what the winds say as a good thing, a virtue even. That rambling, self-justifying tone is just a smokescreen for the fact that there's absolutely nothing solid at its core.
And then things get way weirder. We meet the mage goblin, whose entire power is making people want their own gruesome end. And its speech perfectly mirrors this irrational horror. It sounds so hesitant, so confused, almost like it doesn't even get its own power. It describes this horrible ability as something that just happens for some reason.
The goblin literally asks the exact question we're all thinking. Its speech is just overflowing with the same irrationality it creates in others. It's trying to apply logic to something that has no logic, and the result is this broken, questioning, and deeply unsettling monologue. The chaos it creates on the outside is a perfect mirror of the chaos going on inside its own head. And finally, we arrive at the ant monster. This is where this whole concept reaches its most terrifying peak, because for this creature, broken language isn't just a symptom of instability, it is the instability. It's the weapon.
The ant monster practices what we can only call weaponized nihilism. It doesn't use words to communicate ideas, it uses words to destroy them. Its entire goal is to take concepts that give our world meaning, love, hope, truth, and just completely annihilate them, inflicting psychological harm with pure linguistics.
and its method is just chillingly precise. It'll take a powerful concept, say, love. Then it'll flip it, redefine it as its exact opposite, malevolence. Then it disguises that poison with confusing language and injects it right into someone's mind. This is literally psychological warfare, being fought with grammar and semantics.
You can hear it right from the source. Those short, punchy, but totally disconnected sentences, that's not confusion. Those are commands. It's stating a new, broken reality into existence. Up becomes down. Malevolence, love, why not? For the ant monster, language itself has become nothing more than useless saliva, a tool whose only real function is to infect and destroy.
So let's pull all this together. What have we actually seen here? By listening really closely to how these monsters talk, we've gotten a direct look into the unique, specific nature of their own inner chaos.
For the necromancers, that hesitating speech reveals a mind completely paralyzed by doubt. For the mini-monster, all that rambling is just a way to justify a totally hollow moral core. And for the goblins and the ant monster, their speech both reflects and actively creates psychological chaos. Every little linguistic tick is a clue.
So, what's the ultimate takeaway here? This isn't just some clever writing trick. It's a really powerful narrative tool that makes the horror feel so much more real. We aren't told these monsters are unstable. We hear the instability in every single pause, every broken sentence, and every twisted word.
Which, of course, leaves us with one last, kind of unsettling thought to chew on. If the way these creatures speak is a direct reflection of their inner world, their doubts, their justifications, their chaos, what do the patterns and pauses and choices in our own everyday speech reveal about what's really going on inside our own minds?